Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. Terence Crawford, I'm glad to hear that he's actually gone on record and called out Tszyu. So I guess the plan for the WBO and other people who are behind the scenes to try to get this Terence Crawford and Tszyu fight off the ground looks like it's going that direction. But I want to make sure I'm crystal clear on what I'm about to say, because sometimes people, they only hear what they want to hear. I am telling you right now that Tszyu has proven, and I'm sold on Tszyu. He's proven that he deserves all the respect in the world as a formidable opponent for anyone at any weight. Tszyu is going to come in the ring. If you fight him in Australia, it'll be a matchbox. You're not going to be in no damn 22, 30-foot ring. You're going to be probably in there like a damn 10, 12-foot ring, right? So he can get his paws on you. But all joking aside, Tszyu is going to come in there, and he's going to fight. You hit him, he's going to hit you back. And what we've seen with Tszyu, with the opponents that he's faced, now let's be real, the only real name on Tszyu's record, I'd say Tony Harrison. We could talk about Mendoza, but a lot of people don't even really know Mendoza. But Mendoza can fight. But for Tszyu and for Terence Crawford, anyone out there who is seeing Crawford versus Tszyu as anything more than Crawford versus Avanesyan just at 154, I got to tell you to hold your horses and let's not take it to the stupid. Terence Crawford versus Tszyu is nothing but a stay busy fight for Crawford till he can get his paws on Jermell Charlo. The same way Crawford versus Avanesyan was a stay busy fight till Crawford could get his paws on Earl Spence. Quite simple. End of discussion. No need for cross-examination. All right? So just stop with the bullshit. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't like Crawford any more than I like Tszyu. I think they're both great fighters. But what I'm going to tell you is this. To that bozo who left a comment under one of my videos, first let me say this. I think you should support your countrymen. I think that makes it exciting, especially when the support is healthy. But you got to be rooted in reality. Don't come out here like Bozo McNicholas, who came on here, put in the comment section on one of my videos, talking about, oh, Hood Champion, you don't know anything about boxing. Tszyu versus Terence Crawford is just Tszyu against Tony Harrison all over again. To that, I got to say, in the most respectful way, that I kindly request that you hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. Terence Crawford is just Tony Harrison all over again for Tszyu. I put it to you this way. I get it if some of you say, well, look, Hood, you're saying basically that Tszyu ain't nothing but another Avanesyan for Crawford. Why can't anybody say Crawford is nothing but another Tony Harrison for Tszyu? Well, the reason they can't say that is because, again, we got to be rooted in reality here. With Avanesyan, you're going to come straight forward. And he did that. He landed, 1 or 2 shots on Crawford because Crawford was just treating it like a sparring session. And then when Crawford went into the phone booth and came out as southpaw, man, we saw what happened. But the thing about Crawford and Harrison is Harrison just took that fight just for the few million that he was going to make. It was a retirement fight. He had something lined up, wasn't really paying him any money. And he decided, you know what? My career is on hold, and I'm sure he knew that PBC was going through that little bit of trouble. Showtime was going through that little bit of trouble. So Harrison did the right thing. When we sit back and take a look at Tony Harrison's decision to go down under and get his ass kangaroo whopped by Tszyu, I think we all can agree that Tony Harrison did the right thing. So he got kangaroo whopped, but he also made like $3 million or something like that, is my understanding. So Terence Crawford is not Tony Harrison, who's just looking to go get a payday and being cool with getting kangaroo whopped. Like that's not the case. Crawford's man on a mission. You know what I'm saying? And Crawford is married to the game. To death do us part. And this man ain't gonna sit there and go into a fight with Tszyu feeling like, oh wow, now I get my retirement payday. Nah, man, Crawford ain't laying down for nobody. He just made how much money against Spence? Like 20 million, 22 million, something like that. Y'all think Tszyu is something that's gonna motivate Crawford to, like he's making gazillions against him? Nah. He's not going to go lay down. No, Crawford's coming there to destroy him. But I just think people are going to be disappointed because let me tell you something. When you look at the difference in their reach, Crawford's reached like 74, 75 inches, man. Tszyu not even at 70 inches. This is an easy fight for Crawford, man. Jab, jab, death by jab, death by 1,000 right hands. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to be. Jab, jab, jab. You know what I'm saying? And then boom, he's going to drop the left, bring the hook in. Now, I will say this because I got to be fair. Obviously, Tszyu can crack. Like I told you, I'm sold on Tszyu. He got some power. He just don't get in the ring and knock somebody out like that. You know what I mean? What Tszyu's been able to accomplish, you know, it just doesn't happen like that. And anyone out there who's going to say that Tszyu doesn't have the power. Tszyu is fighting tomato cans, and when he gets in there with Terence Crawford, he doesn't stand any chance at all. No, I think Tszyu stands a chance, but I just don't think he wins. I think Crawford is easily outpoints him, and I think Crawford just sails off into the sunset. You know, I really believe that. Tszyu, 24 wins, 17 KOs, 71% KO ratio. I mean, the man got some power. He's been fighting as a pro for 7 years. So in 7 years, you know, he's been putting in the work. But I just want to be crystal clear, man, for anyone out there who's thinking that Tszyu is going to win this fight. I don't see it. The only way Tszyu, in my opinion, has a chance to win this fight is if Crawford gets in there and chooses to go Rocha versus Santillan, where you got the boxer-puncher who now takes it to the stupid and decides he wants to go toe-to-toe. Because you go in the ring with a guy who's a banger and you think you want to let your nuts hang, they will castrate you. And that's what happened to Rocha this weekend. Matter of fact, I saw him do an interview. His voice went from being kind of deep to kind of high-pitched. Before the fight, they interviewed Rocha. He was like, you know, I plan on getting the win. I'm going to box him. If he wants to bang, we can bang. After the fight, they went to me like, yeah, I made a mistake. I fought the wrong fight. I mean, it's like, yo, man had helium nuts, but you can't go out there thinking you're gonna sit there and bang with the banger and let your nuts hang and not expect to get castrated. But Terence Crawford is not dumb. But he will let his nuts hang in that ring because I think once Tszyu gets touched, I think Tszyu's going to sit there and say, whoa, what did I get myself into? And I don't think Crawford's going to allow Tszyu to come in there and dictate the pace. But if, for some reason, Crawford turns into Rocha and decides to bang with the banger, I think Tszyu, that would be his best chance. Okay? Now, Crawford will be coming up to 154. He's not going to sit around waiting for Earl Spence. But I think Crawford is going to be able to dictate a whole lot. You know, Crawford's not going to go into the damn Tszyu fight as the B side. Ain't gonna happen. He's gonna want to go in as an A side. There's gonna be a 50-50 as far as the treatment, like 50-50 as far as how they're being treated. But at the end of the day, who brings the most to the table here? Tszyu has something Crawford wants. Tszyu didn't really earn it. He didn't beat the man. So Crawford has a leg to stand on as far as negotiations and how things play out. But I'm going to tell you one thing, the uniqueness of Crawford and Tszyu. Crawford's not going to make things complicated because he wants that belt. You may see Crawford concede to a few things that normally he wouldn't do, but just because of the big picture. But if Crawford goes in there being stubborn again as far as who walks first, the corner, coin flip, all these little nuances that he had as he was negotiating with Earl Spence, he may mess around and lose that fight because at the end of the day, Tszyu is Australian. That man has a lot of pride. His last name matters to him. He's not going to get caught up in all the bull crap and the antics. You know, he may just walk away from Crawford and go and just lock in on Jermell Charlo or facing, you know, whoever's next in line until he can get the fight off the ground with Charlo. Now, that being said, more to come. We'll see if they can actually get the pen to paper as far as the signatures for the fight. But when the fight pops off, and I'm just letting you know, it's my opinion, I think Tszyu is a solid fighter. He's got some power. But I just think when you got a guy who can, you know, has an educated jab and can work that stick, you know what I'm saying? Ike Quartet was another one, bazooka jab, that stick. Once he get out there, man, start putting that jab in your face, man, you know, there's nothing you could do. Terence Crawford's another one, man. All these fighters with those educated jabs, you know, it's just a recipe for disaster. And I really think that's all Terence Crawford needs is some movement in his jab, and I think he easily wins the fight. But if he wants to stand there and get cute, he could end up getting caught. Remember, Mean Machine can crack at 147. Tszyu can crack at 154. There's going to be a little bit of difference in punching power. So Crawford can't make the mistake and try to prove a point that he's the bigger puncher. So we'll see what happens. That being said, y'all keep cool. And also, I think this is maybe outside of Jermell. And we're not worried about Canelo. I think this is the biggest money fight for Terence Crawford. Outside of fight with Jermell, and Spencer's big money. But Tszyu checks all the boxes on to answer the why in regards to Terence Crawford taking the fight. Young, strong, WBO champion, whole lot of money. And it's a good test for Crawford at 154 because Tszyu, a lot of people are saying is the best 154 pounder. And if Crawford goes up and he clips him, well, what does that say about Crawford? To me, it tells us what we already know about him, that he's just special. That being said, y'all keep cool in the breeze.